Hi, I'm the Warrior Witch, and you can call me Nike. Today I'm getting myself canceled. So, from the title, you might be a little confused. But today's topic is about why the basics, like cleansing, protection, banishing, all that, why they're not basic. Now, I kind of want to go into not the how to do them or what they are, because I already have a video about that, but I want to talk about the why, because I think the why is kind of overlooked. I'm going to put it in terms that will make sense to everybody. So let's put the basics like math. In math, you start with learning the numbers, learning addition and subtraction, and that's it. You just start on that for a long time and you practice that, and then eventually you're done with addition. You don't stop using it when you are done. You stop learning it. That's the difference. When you're in advanced calculus, just because you have other concepts that you're using with those basics that you learn doesn't mean that you don't suddenly stop seeing the plus sign or the minus sign. They're still there, they're just used in conjunction with other things. They don't go away. And I've noticed a lot of beginners tend to act like, why do I have to bother learning them? Advanced people don't use them. We do. We do. People who've been in the game for years, people who have been practicing for years, do still use those things. They don't suddenly go away. You don't stop using them. You don't stop cleansing. You don't stop protecting. You may do them less frequently, certain aspects, and you may change how you do them. You may do them with other things, and you might not do them the way you did in the beginning, but they don't stop being done just because, oh, you've gotten 2 years of experience, so now you can be done with it, right? Wrong. And for those of you who might be thinking, I don't need to bother with those things because I won't be doing them later on, what's the point of learning something if you're not going to use it? Why do you think we bother stressing this point so much to everyone? Like, the advice we give about cleansing and protecting and all that, it's not just for beginners. It may be beginner oriented in the way that we present it, but people who are intermediate and advanced can still take those concepts and learn something from them. A good creator is going to know how to tell somebody how to do something basic while still being able to inform people that are more advanced. Maybe it's a concept they haven't thought about before, maybe it's a way that they haven't done it before, or a way they haven't heard it before. Everyone can learn something from it, and everyone uses those things. That's why they're important, because you don't stop using them. Nothing in this universe makes you so special that you're exempt from the basics. Like the foundation of a house. Fancy mansions still have a foundation, just like any regular run-of-the-mill middle-class house would. They both have foundations, and if you take away the foundation, the mansion will collapse just the same as the middle-class home will. Now, here's one more basic thing that I think doesn't get talked about too much when you give a list of basics, and it's confirmations. So confirmations, they do get talked about in the way that I know I've spoken about confirming mundane versus magical, and making sure that when you think you're getting a sign, you make sure that it's actually a sign and not just a regular thing that happens in life, like finding a coin on the street versus finding a coin on your dresser when you don't carry cash and you live alone. But confirmations are also important when it comes to making sure you know what spirit you're working with and what entity you're working with. You need to confirm that it's not something lying to you. I've seen so many beginners say that they are interacting with something, but they don't know what it is and they haven't bothered to do any confirmations. You don't know what you're working with, and just because it says, oh, I'm safe, doesn't mean it is. Do you think somebody trying to hurt you is going to tell you they're going to hurt you? Most of the time, no. They're going to try to trick you so that they can get what they want from you. That's kind of how that works. And it's not just a human concept. Spirits do it too. Other non-human entities do it too. So get confirmations, ask them questions, do divination, follow your gut, listen to your intuition. Why would you ever interact with something you do not know without confirming that it has good intentions for you versus bad? Here's another point that I get very annoyed with. Now, it's one thing to say, I've done some digging, I've tried to look into it, but there's this part of this concept I'm trying to learn that I don't quite understand, and then asking somebody more knowledgeable about that part of the concept. Versus questions that I know I get all the time in my DMs. I know other practitioners get all the time in their DMs. I'm part of witchcraft servers, and we get people coming in all the time asking, what do you use moon water for? Google. Google is right there. If you are on Discord, if you are on YouTube, if you are on Twitter, if you are on Instagram, I know you have access to Google, so why aren't you using it? We're not Google. You teach yourself. Most of this craft is not based on a teacher telling you how to do it. It is based on you teaching yourself and knowing how to learn, knowing how to research. I have an entire video about exactly this concept. Go watch it if you haven't. Any content creator who tries to teach people will teach you where to go to look up information, how to go and look up information, where to find valuable resources that can then further direct you. You have to learn how to think for yourself. I get it. We live in a very Christian society, and we very much come from a culture of you have to be taught by someone else in order to learn something, and we sort of get stuck in that mindset of I have to have a teacher, I have to have a mentor, they have to tell me how to do everything, and it's not true. You are a self-sufficient human being who has the capability of accessing the entirety of the world's collective knowledge, anywhere, at any time, whenever you want. It's super easy. It's called Google. If you don't know what something is used for in witchcraft, I want you to go to Google. I'll go with you right now. Let's look up moon water correspondences. So we're gonna go to google.com and we're going to type in the search bar, moon water correspondences witchcraft. And we're gonna hit enter. Wow, just like that, results pop up. Read through some of them. If they all say the same thing, it's probably a safe bet to say it's probably what it's used for. Let's even go more basic. Let's go salt, witchcraft, correspondences. Enter. Wow, just like that, you can find any herb correspondence now, any stone correspondence. If you can't do this, don't bother asking somebody else, because they're not gonna do Google for you. I know in the past I have actually just sent the Google link to people. They ask me a basic question like, what is salt used for in witchcraft? And I have sent them to either Salt Witchcraft Correspondences Google search or just to google.com straight. You can do it. I do believe in you. Now here's another basic, and this is more basic courtesy that you should be able to learn in like elementary school. Don't go pushing your beliefs on others. Now, in the spiritual community, in the witchcraft community, you're probably gonna first think about Christians, and I am thinking about these people because as of the day that I'm recording this, I've gotten a couple comments recently on like my Instagram of people saying, you're a sinner, you must repent, I know you're gonna hate me for this, or you're gonna yell at me for this comment, and then they go on some Christian diatribe about how I'm sinning and whatever. That's one thing, which, by the way, if you leave those comments, I'm just gonna delete them. I'm not gonna leave them up. It's my space and I'm allowed to control the narrative when it comes to that. But I'm also talking about Wiccans. Now listen, I don't have anything against Wiccans, I really don't. We have a lot of Wiccans who tend to, in a sense, preach their practices' morals to other people who do not follow that path. And it's always the read, the rule of three, the Wiccan read. Now, number one, even if this was originally part of Wicca, that's part of your path. That is your morals. That is your system. You do that. I'm not Wiccan. I'm not part of that path. I'm not part of that tradition. Those are not my morals. I don't follow the rule of three. So if you come to somebody who is posting about their witchcraft journey or their spiritual practitioner journey and you tell them about the Wiccan read or the rule of three, congratulations, you're just as rude as those Christians who come onto pages and tell you to follow their way of thinking and their way of doing. It's literally the same. It might not have the same cultural impact, but the intent behind it is you should do things my way, not your way, because I say what my way is better. It's rude. Stop it. Quit it. Nobody wants to hear it. And this goes the reverse too, like, if you don't believe in a concept, that's fine. You also don't have to go running around telling people that, well, I don't believe in it or I don't practice it, so If it's not hurting anybody, that is where the line is fine. If it's a belief that is actively hurting people, if it actively leads to misinformation or to anything that might lead to any sort of physical, mental, emotional harm, yeah, maybe you could speak up. But if nobody's getting hurt, if it's fine, just leave people alone. I feel like this shouldn't have to be said. I feel like a lot of this shouldn't have to be said. But, you know, here I am because I've had these experiences in the last week that prompted me to make this video. Y'all really need to just take a moment, take a breath, think about why you're in this path. What led you here? What are your motivations behind learning all of this and doing all of this? What is the reason that you're watching my content right now? What is the reason you're watching anybody else's content that might pop up in the sidebar? Why are you here? What is the reason behind your motivations to learn this? If it's just for a superiority complex or for power, maybe it's not for you. Honestly, if you just want a quick fix and because of that you're just gonna ignore the basics, that's fine, because you should just pay someone to do it for you. There are a lot of practitioners who can do paid spell work for you. They can make this thing happen for you that you want to happen so badly. And if you're just gonna jump right over all those basics, you wanna jump over cleansing, protection, and all those, just pay somebody to do the working for you. It's really not that hard. A lot of the time it's not that expensive. You'd sink more time and effort into doing the research yourself, learning to do it, and then quitting, versus just working a couple of extra hours that would equate to that time spent, which could then be literally spent on a practitioner doing the spell for you. Just do that. If you're not gonna bother with the research, you're not gonna bother with the basics. Don't call yourself a witch. I mean, what's the point? What's the point of being here? If you don't like research, like I said in my research video, you shouldn't be a witch. I'm about to be monetized in just a couple of weeks, so I thought maybe it'd be a good time to cancel myself with my hot takes, but I'm feeling real spicy about it, and I'm kind of sick of hearing it all the time of people coming into my DMs, my friends' DMs, asking them to do all this research work for them, to lead them when they're actively, their DMs say no DMs, DMs not open, DMs closed, and you still come in to bother them with a Google search? Explain it to me, because I'd like to know the reasoning. If you're just lazy, it's less effort to not bother them. If you're just lazy, it's more effort to go bother this person than it is to go to Google and search it. I don't have any more than that. These are my takes. These are my hot takes. If you want to cancel me, I guess here's your opportunity. And I'll see you guys next week, so blessed be. Bye.